South Ralasia, North Ralasia, split up, World War II, yada yada yada. I get the desire to stay away from real life things because those real life things can get exceptionally controversial, but really? There was a nice little gag towards the beginning of the thing where Red Arrow calls in to Calder and is like, hey, so could you give me the exact height of Cheshire? And Calder's like, yeah, sure. She's 1.67 meters. 5'6". Thank you. I like that. That was a nice touch. So Lex Luthor joins the show. Smash Brothers Splash. It's played by Mark Rolston, which at first made me go, huh. Since I tend to think of, the DCAU. But then I started thinking about it. Well, I obviously have several memories of Rolston. He's been in, he's been in TNG, Enterprise, and Babylon 5. But what I find most interesting is he also played Luthor in both Arkham Knight and Injustice, and I think he's done it a couple other times too. He does a pretty decent job with the role because well, maybe it's a matter of the writing, but he comes across as unapologetically, evil. But he tends to portray that as if it's not a bad thing. There's this bit where he says, yeah, I've been selling weapons to both sides, but war income is pocket change compared to the kind of money I can make investing on a peaceful reunification. And that is why Lex Luthor is horrifying, for anybody wondering. I've always liked the take on him as being a smart villain, which is why it's interesting that he's part of the Light. This is our first, well, I still think Queen Bee is part of the Light, but if we count her, that makes 3 confirmed members so far. Not sure what I think of that. I'll have to see where they go with this. I know it's in Elseworlds, but seeing Luthor being part of the organization like that, that's just... We know they're in with Darkseid, too. I'm going to start calling Darkseid because I hate him so much. Anyways. Meanwhile, we see that Megan and... I'm going to go ahead and start trying to calling him Connor. It's actually been hard not to call him Connor, because Connor's Superboy's name. But, now it's like, okay, now they're actually calling him Connor Kent because of Kent Nelson. Yeah, that's exactly why I was saying that. Right. Yeah, sure. So, why the high school thing? Oh, I know. Don't actually answer the question. It's just, really? Like, nobody likes school. School sucks. School sucks. If you're watching this and you're younger than, say, about 24-ish, or excuse me, 22-ish, stay in school. School's awesome. But for those of you over 22, school sucks. God, why? Why are they watching a news report in class? I guess it's relevant to the history topic they're talking about. I don't know. I get it. They want to show off everyday life, and that's something I'm in favor of. There needs to be something other than the superhero gig. As I've said many times, Clark is usually more interesting than Soups, just as Bruce is more interesting than Bats, and you get the idea. So, yeah, okay, all right. I get it. And they're young, so it has to be school. Did it have to be school? I'm sorry I sound so plaintive here. It's just... We'll see what they do with it going forward. If the incident with Wally isn't any indication, I'm not really looking forward to it because the bit with Wally was awful several episodes ago. That was just terrible. Anyways. So, Raish Al Ghul is how they're pronouncing it this time around, which is the more common pronunciation, so that makes sense. So, Raish, yeah. There's this bit where Cheshire actually slips up very briefly on saying Artemis's name. I wonder if she did that on purpose, and if she didn't, I'm starting to think that maybe she really is her mother. Same actress and all that. We'll see. Then we see the sportsmaster, who's pathetic. And then we see Red Arrow decide to call in Calder in order to take on the two. Okay, I'm with all this. And they manage to stop them. There's this really cool point where we get to see the water bending in full tilt. In fact, there's 2 points. One is when he uses the water from the glasses to build the barrier. The second's when he knocks off the sprinkler system, which is actually a pretty nice touch as well. Useful stuff. This is also the second time now that they hint that there's a mole. Dun, 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 gosh, could it be? It's totally not Artemis. And we see Red and Kaldur have kind of started to, get a little closer, and Red Arrow is trying to stop being quite so much of a dick. And then, of course, oh my gosh, Luther and Raish are working together. Da, da, da. At this point, considering the dark side connotations, other than dark side, I'm kind of curious who the other one is involved here and why they're calling themselves the Light. That's the really weird part, because if these people are working for dark side, I mean, it's in the name, right? Like, Apocalypse is basically hell, right? Like, that's not the Light. So unless they're being ironic, there's something else going on here, and I'm not sure what to make of that yet. I guess we'll find out next time or in like a season.